Shot shattered the silence of Maplewood, Illinois. A 911 call echoed through the police dispatch. Shots fired at 43 Maplewood Drive. Husband found with the weapon. But this was no ordinary crime of passion. It was the violent crescendo of a revenge plot years in the making. A plot that began not in a quiet suburban home, but on national television. Just weeks earlier, millions of viewers tuned into the reality show Truth or Lies, where Rebecca Anderson, a devoted mother of two, confessed to an affair live on air. Her voice trembled as she detailed secret trysts and whispered promises. Her husband Kyle's name trending online before the episode even ended. But what the audience didn't see was the man lurking off-screen, the puppeteer who orchestrated her confession. A man who didn't just want to steal Rebecca's heart, he wanted to bury Kyle's life in rubble. Rebecca and Kyle Anderson seemed to have it all: a picture-perfect marriage, a two-story home on a tree-lined street, two children who excelled in school. Their 2016 family photos showed a couple glowing at pumpkin patches and birthday parties, their smiles flawless, their love story airtight. But by October 2018, cracks began to form. Rebecca grew distant, disappearing into her phone for hours. Kyle buried himself in work, climbing the corporate ladder at a tech firm while their marriage crumbled beneath him. And then there was Marcus Cole, a name that meant nothing to Kyle, yet everything to the storm about to engulf them. Headlines called it a tragic romance, when the truth spilled out. Suburban murder stuns Maplewood, declared the Gazette. Affair partner identified. Who is Marcus Cole? Blared the Daily Crime blog. But this was no simple love triangle. Marcus Cole wasn't just Rebecca's lover. He was a ghost from Kyle's past, a man with a vendetta forged in 2015, when Kyle's testimony sent him to prison for embezzlement. A man who spent years sharpening his revenge, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. That moment came in the fall of 2018. Marcus didn't just seduce Rebecca, he manipulated her loneliness, her quiet resentment toward Kyle's absences. He joined her yoga class, his charm deliberate, his intentions hidden behind zen smiles and casual touches. And when she finally let him in, he planted the seeds of destruction. "Go on the show," he whispered. "Confess. Set yourself free." But freedom was never his goal. The night Rebecca's confession aired, Kyle sat alone on their leather couch, the glow of the TV washing over him like a funeral shroud. He watched his wife detail the affair, her voice cracking not with guilt, but with something colder, a rehearsed detachment. What he didn't know: Marcus had leaked the affair to the show's producers himself, scripting the humiliation, counting on Kyle's pride to ignite. And ignite it did. By midnight, the Andersons' pristine home became a crime scene. Rebecca lay lifeless in the living room, a single bullet wound in her chest. Kyle stood frozen, the gun still warm in his hand, as sirens wailed toward Maplewood Drive. But this wasn't the end. It was the first thread pulled in a tapestry of lies. Because Marcus Cole wasn't done. The truth is, Rebecca tried to warn Kyle. In her final days, she left cryptic voicemails, rambling about owing someone, and a debt that wasn't hers. But Kyle didn't listen. He was too busy unraveling, too blind to see the puppet strings tightening around his neck. Marcus's revenge wasn't just about destroying a marriage, it was about trapping Kyle in a nightmare of his own making. A nightmare that ended in handcuffs, a 25-year sentence, and a chilling revelation. Rebecca's affair was never about love. It was about vengeance. Welcome to Maplewood, where white picket fences hide blood-stained secrets, and the American dream can turn deadly with the pull of a trigger. Stay tuned, because this story is far from over. The living room of 43 Maplewood Drive is frozen in time. A shattered vase lies in shards near the fireplace. A half-drunk glass of wine stains the coffee table. And there, in the center of the room, Kyle Anderson stands silhouetted against the flickering TV light, his trembling hand gripping a revolver. The clock on the wall reads 9:14 p.m. Rebecca collapses to the floor, her scream drowned out by the gunshots still echoing off the walls. Outside, red and blue sirens slice through the night as neighbors peer through blinds, their whispers swallowed by the cold November air. This wasn't a spontaneous act of rage. This was the climax of a plan designed to push Kyle to the edge, and someone else had been sharpening that edge for years. Rebecca Anderson was more than a victim. She was a paradox. To her friends, she was the Pinterest mom who baked organic cookies, hosted flawless playdates, and never missed a yoga class. But behind the curated smiles was a woman quietly unraveling. She'd joke about being lonely in a house full of people, recalls her best friend, Sarah, in a tearful interview. Kyle was always working, always climbing. Rebecca held their lives together. Until she couldn't. The cracks in their marriage began innocently, a missed dinner here, a forgotten anniversary there. Then came the yoga class. Security footage from September 2018 shows Rebecca lingering after sessions, her mat rolled tight as she chats with a man in a gray hoodie. His face is obscured, but his name flashes later in damning text messages. Marcus. "I'm done hiding," Rebecca texts him on October 3rd. Marcus's reply? "Make him suffer. You know what to do." Kyle Anderson wasn't just a betrayed husband. He was a man who built his life on control. At Tech Innovations, co-workers describe him as ruthless, a corporate shark who fired employees for minor mistakes. A former colleague, now a bartender, scowls into the camera. Kyle ruined careers to get that VP title. Guess karma finally showed up with a gun. His LinkedIn profile, still live today, lists accolades. Senior VP, 2015 to 2018. Top performer. Leader. But in the weeks before the murder, his performance reviews turned grim. Distracted, one reads. Volatile. The night of November 12th, Kyle's Google search history tells its own story. At 8:03 p.m., how to save a marriage. 8:17 p.m., Marcus Cole arrest records. 8:45 p.m., reality show confession clips. By 9 p.m., he'd loaded the revolver, a gun purchased just 3 days prior, its receipt still crumpled in his glove box. What he didn't know. Marcus had been feeding him lies for weeks. Fake emails from Rebecca's account. A fabricated text thread about running away. All designed to stoke Kyle's fury, to make him see betrayal in every shadow. But Rebecca's final moments reveal a darker truth. Buried in her phone's deleted folder is a voicemail draft, dated November 11th. "Kyle, I'm scared. Marcus isn't who you think." The recording cuts to static. Was she trying to warn him? Or had she finally realized she was a pawn in Marcus's game? The crime scene photos show Rebecca's body slumped near the fireplace, her hand outstretched toward a family portrait, the same one from their 2016 trip to Disney World. Kyle's fingerprints are the only ones on the gun. But the bullet. It matches a batch sold to Marcus Cole's cousin, a gun shop owner in Indiana. A coincidence? Or a trail of breadcrumbs left for detectives to follow? A single question lingers. Who was really holding the gun that night? Kyle Anderson, the cuckolded husband? Or Marcus Cole, the puppeteer who turned love into a weapon? Marcus Cole's story begins not in a yoga studio, but in a courtroom. October 2015. A young, clean-cut Marcus sits at the defense table, his knuckles white around a pen as Kyle Anderson, polished, cold, and sworn in, testifies against him. Cole manipulated company funds, Kyle declares, his voice clipped. He's a liar. The gavel cracks. Marcus's career evaporates. His mugshot, taken hours later, shows a man transformed, unshaven, eyes burning with quiet fury. Marcus Cole. Convicted of embezzlement. 2015. As guards lead him away, he locks eyes with Kyle. "You'll lose everything," he hisses. A threat Kyle dismisses, until 3 years later, when Marcus makes good on his promise. The plan was meticulous. Marcus didn't stumble into Rebecca's life, he stalked it. Security footage from September 2018 shows him loitering outside Maplewood Elementary, watching Rebecca drop off her children. He memorized her schedule: yoga Mondays and Thursdays, grocery runs on Fridays. When he finally joined her class, he wore a mask of calm, A man seeking mindfulness, he told the instructor. But his journal, recovered by police, paints a darker mission. Seduce the wife. Destroy the husband. Let him rot in the hell he made for me. Their first conversation was scripted. Marcus accidentally bumps into Rebecca after class, his hand lingering on her arm as he helps her gather her mat. "You're tense," he murmurs. "I know a great massage therapist." She laughs, unaware his charm is a scalpel, carving open her loneliness. Texts between them, time-stamped October 2018, reveal Marcus's manipulation. Rebecca, "I can't keep lying to Kyle." Marcus, "You're not lying. You're surviving." And then, the damning message, "He deserves to suffer." But Marcus didn't stop at seduction. He weaponized humiliation. On November 5, 2018, he emailed Truth or Lies producers from a burner account. "Rebecca Anderson has a secret that'll break the internet. Her husband's a corporate big shot. Imagine the ratings." Attached were photos of Rebecca and Marcus at a motel, time-stamped weeks prior. The show's producer, in a later police interview, admits, "We knew it was shady, but scandal sells." The confession aired on November 10th. Rebecca, perched on the show's plush red couch, clutched a tissue as the host probed, "When did the affair start?" The camera zoomed in on her wedding ring, still glinting on her finger. "3 months ago," she whispered. "I was lonely." Marcus listened. Viewers pitied her. Kyle, watching at home, saw only betrayal. What he didn't see. Marcus in a nearby green room, smirking as Rebecca's voice cracked. "Perfect," he muttered to a producer. "Now watch him snap." Kyle's unraveling was swift. His laptop, seized by police, revealed frantic Google searches in the days before the murder. How to track a cheater's phone. Marcus Cole prison release date. Is revenge ever justified? He combed through Rebecca's emails, unearthing fake receipts for hotel bookings Marcus had forged. By November 12th, paranoia choked him. At 7:48 p.m., he texted Rebecca, "Who is he?" She never replied. The final piece of Marcus's trap? The gun. Ballistics traced the bullet to a shop owned by Marcus's cousin in Gary, Indiana. Purchased under a fake ID in October, it was planted in Kyle's glove box while he worked late, a gift from Marcus, disguised as Rebecca's desperate attempt to protect herself. When Kyle found it, he saw proof of her fear, not of Marcus, but of him. In a chilling police interview audio clip, Kyle's voice wavers, "I thought she'd chosen him. I thought I'd lost her. But after the arrest, I found a note in her diary. Marcus won't let me leave." Ink smeared as if the page was slammed shut. Marcus's revenge was a masterpiece of misdirection. He turned Kyle's pride into a noose, Rebecca's loneliness into bait, and a reality show into a courtroom. But in the end, even he couldn't outrun the truth. Detectives found his fingerprints on the motel photos sent to producers. His cousin confessed to the gun sale. And Kyle's browser history? A digital trail of rage, yes, but also a man grasping for answers in the dark. Marcus Cole wanted Kyle to lose everything. And he succeeded. But in his hunger for vengeance, he forgot one thing: monsters leave footprints. The arrest played out like a scene from one of Marcus Cole's own scripts. December 3, 2018. A Greyhound bus idles at a Chicago terminal, its engine humming under gray winter skies. Marcus, hunched in a hoodie, scans the platform, but he doesn't see the undercover officers closing in. His face contorting from shock to sneering defiance. "You think this is over?" he spits. Marcus Cole arrested. Conspiracy to commit murder. For the first time, Maplewood learns the affair wasn't a scandal. It was a hit job. The host stands outside the courthouse, her breath visible in the cold. Marcus didn't just want Rebecca, she intones. He wanted Kyle trapped in a cage of his own rage. A life sentence for a crime Marcus engineered. And Rebecca? She wasn't a lover. She was leverage. The camera cuts to Rebecca's sister, Jenna. She tried to end it in October, Jenna says, voice breaking. Marcus threatened to send the affair tapes to their kids' school. Rebecca went on that show to warn Kyle, to beg him to listen. But he was too far gone. The proof lies in Rebecca's diary, its pages entered into evidence. A passage dated November 8, 2018, reads, "Told Marcus it's over. He laughed. Said if I walk away, he'll ruin Kyle. I can't let that happen. Going on TV is the only way to make Kyle see the truth." But the truth arrived too late. That night, Kyle's rage drowned out her cries. In the courtroom, Marcus sits shackled, his smirk intact as the prosecutor holds up a blown-up email. Exhibit 12. Marcus Cole's message to Truth or Lies producers. Rebecca's confession will break the internet. The prosecutor's voice booms. This wasn't about love. It was arithmetic. A embezzlement conviction in 2015. A 3-year grudge. And a plan to make Kyle Anderson pay, with his freedom, his family, his future. But the jury sees another piece of evidence. A voicemail. Rebecca's voice, shaky but clear. Marcus knows about the gun. He's coming for you, Kyle. Please, just... A crash interrupts her. The call timestamp? November 12th, 8:57 p.m. 17 minutes before the murder. Forensic experts take the stand. The bullet that killed Rebecca? Traced to Marcus's cousin, who admits under oath, Marcus paid me cash to sell it under a fake name. Said it was for protection. The defense argues coercion, but the prosecutor unveils Marcus's journal, open to a September 2018 entry. Phase 3, gaslight the husband. Make him pull the trigger himself. The trial's most damning moment comes via a jailhouse informant. A cellmate claims Marcus bragged, "Kyle's not a killer. He's a puppet. I wrote the script, he just played his part." Watching the testimony via video feed from prison. His face, once smug in corporate headshots, is gaunt, his eyes vacant. When asked for a comment, he mutters, "I didn't know it was him. Not until she was gone." Verdict day. The courtroom tenses as the forewoman rises. Guilty on all counts. Marcus's smirk falters. The judge sentences him to life without parole, calling his scheme a grotesque perversion of justice. Kyle, already serving 25 years for manslaughter, receives no reprieve. In a final twist, Rebecca's diary reveals her last act, a life insurance policy updated days before her death, leaving everything to her children. "If something happens," she wrote, "don't let him win." Sighed the Anderson home, now a boarded shell. Marcus Cole's revenge cost 3 lives, Rebecca's, Kyle's, and his own. But in the end, the truth survived. Not in courtroom speeches or headlines, but in a mother's diary. Pages filled with warnings, love, and a plea buried under the weight of vengeance. Justice served? Perhaps. But in Maplewood, some wounds never heal, and some secrets never stay buried. The Anderson story ends not with a verdict, but with silence. Kyle serves 25 years for manslaughter, his once sharp suits swapped for prison scrubs. Marcus Cole rots in a maximum security cell, his smirk finally erased by steel bars. But Rebecca... She haunts this tragedy like a ghost, her voice echoing in the empty halls of 43 Maplewood Drive, a home where family photos still gather dust and a single bullet hole mars the living room wall. A woman who loved, lied, and ultimately lost herself in the crossfire of 2 men's wars. Rebecca's children live with her sister now, she murmurs. Their laughter replaced by questions no one can answer. Who was the villain here? The husband who pulled the trigger? The lover who loaded the gun? Or a society that turns betrayal into entertainment? The camera drifts to the house's shattered window, sunlight glinting off broken glass like a warning. But this isn't the end. It's a beginning. For every secret exposed, another waits in the shadows.